Welcome back to the channel, and today is the 2020 season preview. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps me out a lot. Without further ado, let's get into it. So the 2019 season was very, very poor. A 4-12 record marked the end of Pat Shermer's time in New York after a 5-11 record the season before that. And they were very, very poor throughout the whole of the season. Daniel Jones was their rookie quarterback. He wasn't amazing, but showed some good promise to build on. And 2020 sees Joe Judge in charge. So enough about last season, let's move on to the 2020 preview. So a quick touch on the schedule, and they've got the 7th easiest strength of schedule according to 2019 win percentage, and their hardest games are probably home and away to the Cowboys and the Eagles being divisional rivals, and then other games include the 49ers and the Steelers, whilst heading on the road to the Ravens and the Seahawks. So some tough games here, but the other games I think they'll be comfortable with. Now moving on to the roster and the quarterback position, and Daniel Jones. He is a very, very mixed player. I've got some very mixed thoughts about him. He was a 3-9 record as a starter in 2019, but he did show some very nice upside. He threw for 3,000 yards, 24 touchdowns in the 12 games he started, but he did make some very, very critical errors that you can't really make in the NFL. His ball placement and security were very poor. He had the tied 8th worst completion percentage of the starters in the NFL, and there was some throws that he really could have made if he was slightly more accurate, but he misplaced these throws, and therefore it led to an awful lot of forced incompletions and pass breakups from the defense in 2019, which made him as a result look worse, and the offense stalled on a lot of drives because of it. And another point that I want to raise is his awareness. It is really not there. Sometimes he will climb into a pocket that is collapsing in on him. The edge rusher will be right in front of him and he'll climb right into the pressure, and other times he'll feel pressure when there isn't any coming in. He'll leave the pocket way too early before any plays develop downfield, and then he'll be struggling for options. So I think this is something that he needs to do. These aren't new problems. This is something that was picked up in his college film when he was playing at Duke, but it's something that he's going to have to work hard on because he can't carry on playing in that same way. However, he wasn't helped by his tackles around him. They didn't play very well in 2019, so I'll touch on the O-line in a minute, but he has got good upside. As I mentioned, he's quite tall as well. He's fairly athletic. He can scramble well when needs be, but 2020 will be a very, very interesting year if you're a New York Giants fan or someone interested in the development of Daniel Jones to see how he goes. Saquon Barkley is a true threat at running back, rushing and receiving game. He is really, really good. He just makes it look like he's playing on Madden with the way that he makes his moves and how he's so elusive and everything. He had 1,300 rushing yards and 2,000 all-purpose yards in his rookie season, making the Pro Bowl an offensive rookie of the year. So, these are great. He missed 3 games in 2019, but he still reached 1,000 rushing yards and 400 in the passing game. So he's still been a threat despite missing 3 games of the season. And then for 2020, they've added Dion Lewis as an experienced backup. He's good for a few hundred yards per season. So these two working together, I think they're going to have a nice rushing attack. Now looking to the receivers, and they do quite worry me. And I'll tell you for why. I know that you've got 3 good wide receivers there, all 3 of the starters. You've got Sterling Shepard, Golden Tate, and Darius Slayton. But all of them only started a maximum of 10 games last year, and therefore 1,900 yards together in the season, which isn't actually too bad, but injuries killed them the whole way throughout. And you can't expect a rookie quarterback like Daniel Jones to work with, bare bones second string players. When you're coming into the league, you want all your weapons firing, everyone available every week of the season. And to have that many injuries just absolutely crippled the Giants on offense last year. Also, star tight end Evan Engram only managed to play 8 games for the same reason, so it'll be really interesting to see how fit they can stay in 2020, because I'm just concerned with the loss of Cody Latimer as well in free agency, that if there is 1 or 2 of the starters injured again, that the Giants are going to find themselves in a position where Daniel Jones doesn't have the targets again and he's struggling, and the offense is going to keep stalling every drive. So it's definitely one to keep an eye on. I would like to see a little bit more depth at the pass catching positions. So the O-line was graded 17th overall last year, but the tackles were pretty poor, as I mentioned earlier on. 97 quarterback pressures from the left and the right tackles, which was the most in the NFL. However, the interior O-line led by Kevin Zeitler in 2019 was actually pretty good, and they've made 2 moves for 2020. Spencer Pulley will be the starting centre after Jalapeno left, and Andrew Thomas was the Giants' first pick in the 2020 draft, who will take the right tackle spot. I'll touch on him a little bit more later. Go and let me know now in the comments, who do you think the best offensive player for the Giants will be in 2020? Drop me a comment now. So looking towards the defensive side of the ball, and the Giants' front 3 in the 3-4 defense isn't amazing, if I'm being honest with you. The combination of Dexter Lawrence, Dalvin Tomlinson, and Leonard Williams could be pretty good, but none of them have set the world alight so far. Dexter Lawrence is probably the best player there, but for a first round pick, he's definitely short of the production that the Giants would have liked for him. The linebackers, however, are much better for the Giants. Will linebacker Markus still in contract discussions at the time of filming now. He was the star player in 2019. He had 10 sacks, over 70 tackles. You've got Sam linebacker Lorenzo Carter, 4.5 sacks, 5 passes defended. And then inside linebacker David Mayo, he's a good hard-working player, racking up tackles. And then you've also got free agency. Blake Martinez was a great pickup for the Giants. He's played for the Packers for years. He's never really got the recognition that he deserves. He's had at least 140 tackles in his last 3 seasons, with a few sacks and passes defended here and there, and the odd interception too. So I do really like the linebackers coming into 2020. I think they've got a good group. But an area of the defense that was very bad in 2020 was the secondary. They were awful. DeAndre Baker was really bad, but they have made significant improvements towards the 2020 season. They added James Bradberry from the Panthers, who has been really good in recent times, averages around 12 passes defended and 2 interceptions a season, so they'll hope to have this production in New York. And also they'll hope that DeAndre Baker has got rid of his rookie season problems and he'll be good in his sophomore year. Jabrill Peppers was actually very good at the strong safety spot. He had a higher grading than average for strong safeties in 2019. And also they added Xavier McKinney, the free safety from Alabama. He was the best safety in the 2020 NFL draft. So they've made a few changes, hopefully for the better. We'll have to see how this one plays out. So then just a quick look towards the coaching team. Head coach Joe Judge, he's stepping into his first major role after being a special team coordinator and being in assistant roles at the Patriots for years. This will really be the acid test for him. You've got offensive coordinator Jason Garrett, who's been at the Cowboys for years. He's a great football in mind. He was the head coach at the Cowboys for 10 years, and he's going to be looking to prove a point after departing after a disappointing 2019 season. So then looking towards the 2020 offseason and some of the moves that they made, we'll look at the draft first. And I'm only going to touch on the first 2 players they drafted, as most of the others will mostly feature on special teams or not see a lot of the field unless there's some injuries. So first it was Andrew Thomas, the tackle from Georgia. He can play both on the left and the right side. He's really strong, got really great hip strength and can anchor really well, which is obviously a great skill to have as a tackle. Then you've got Xavier McKinney, the safety from Alabama. He's a really versatile player. He can play as a slot corner really well too. Great football IQ, and he plays in man coverage really nicely. He's got good hit power too, so running downhill, look out for Xavier McKinney. So go and let me know now in the comments, do you think Xavier McKinney or Andrew Thomas will have the better season for the Giants in 2020? I know a tackle is hard to judge on how good they are, but who do you think will be better? So then a quick look at free agency. Let's just recap a few of the players that went in and out in the 2020 offseason. So heading out, you had Antoine Bethea, John Halapio, Mike Remmers, Alec Ogletree and Cody Latimer. And then coming in for 2020, you had James Bradberry, Blake Martinez, Tuilolo, the tight end, Dion Lewis. But then they also exercised the 5th-year option on Evan Engram and Jabrill Peppers, and Leonard Williams has been franchise tagged. So the overall outlook for the Giants in 2020, they've got some really nice players on the roster, but the lack of depth is a real worry for me, especially at the wide receiver spot, as was shown in 2019. The defensive line also needs some big improvements to be a better run defense as well. So as a floor, I would say 4-12 for the team in 2020. However, if Daniel Jones can clean up his inconsistencies, Saquon Barkley and Dion Lewis get a good running game going, and they don't have as many injuries as they had in the 2019 season, and the new look secondary is also firing, then there's no reason they couldn't go 9-7 and grab a wildcard spot. So as ever, let me know now in the comments, what do you think of my predictions? Have I been too harsh? Have I been too kind to the Giants? What do you think their record will be in 2020? Go and let me know now in the comments. Thanks for making it to this stage of the video. I hope you enjoyed the vid. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe. It really helps me out because YouTube pushes it to more people, and obviously that's what we want for the channel to grow. So I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one.